Before dawn breaks over the stone walls of the castle, the kitchen is already awake. Long before knights rise or lords demand their meals, a different battle begins below ground, in rooms blackened by centuries of smoke. This is where the medieval cook lives and works, far from banners and glory, surrounded by fire, filth, and unrelenting pressure. The air is thick with ash and the smell of boiling bones. There are no windows, only narrow slits in the stone that barely allow light to enter. Flames lick the underside of iron cauldrons large enough to bathe a man. Inside them, stews simmer for hours, sometimes days, fed with whatever the castle stores can provide. The cook stirs constantly, not for art, but for survival. A burned meal could mean punishment. A spoiled one could mean death. This kitchen feeds dozens, sometimes hundreds. Lords, ladies, guards, servants, guests. Everyone eats, and every mouth increases the risk. Meat often arrives half-rotten, preserved with salt to hide decay. Vegetables are muddy, insects crawling between leaves. The cook must know how to mask the taste of spoilage with herbs, vinegar, and fire. Medieval cooking is not about pleasure. It is about making food safe enough to swallow. There is no written recipe to follow. Knowledge passes through scars and memory. A mistake learned once is never forgotten. Too little boiling and parasites survive. Too much salt and the Lord complains. The cook balances hunger, health, and hierarchy with every ladle poured. Hours stretch endlessly. Heat presses against the skin, sweat soaking wool garments that are never truly clean. Burns are common, cuts fester. Smoke ruins the lungs. Many cooks do not live long, yet they are indispensable. Without them, the castle starves. Above, the stone halls may echo with music and prayer. Below, in the kitchen, there is only fire, noise, and command. The medieval cook does not see the feast. He hears about it later, if at all. His reward is survival, one day at a time, in the heart of the castle's most unforgiving room. As the sun climbs higher, the kitchen grows more chaotic. Deliveries arrive through back gates, sacks of grain crawling with weevils, barrels of fish soaked in brine, carcasses dragged across stone floors. Nothing is wasted, nothing can be refused. The cook inspects each item quickly, knowing delay brings anger from above. If the food fails later, the blame will not travel upward. It will stay here, in the heat. Hierarchy rules the kitchen as strictly as the castle walls. At the bottom are the scullions, often children, scrubbing pots with sand until their hands bleed. Above them, assistants chop, grind, and carry, repeating the same motions until they are burned into muscle. At the top stands the master cook, feared and respected, answering directly to the Lord Steward. His authority is absolute within these walls because the castle's health depends on him. Meals must follow ritual. Breakfast is simple, often bread and ale. The main meal, eaten late morning or midday, is the true test. Timing is everything. Meat must reach the hall hot. Sauces must not separate. Bread must arrive fresh enough to impress, old enough not to offend. There is no margin for error. A delayed dish can insult a noble. An undercooked one can start rumors of incompetence or sabotage. Religion shapes the menu as much as availability. Fasting days strip meat from the table, replacing it with fish and grains. Feast days demand abundance, excess, spectacle. On those days, the kitchen becomes a furnace of panic. Whole animals roast on spits, turned by hand for hours. Pies are sealed thick to hide questionable fillings. Colors matter. Spices, rare and expensive, are used not just for taste, but to signal wealth and power. The cook rarely tastes what he prepares. Food is judged by appearance, smell, and experience. Trusting one's senses is safer than risking illness. When mistakes happen, they are hidden quickly. Burned edges are trimmed away, sour notes drowned in fat and herbs. Survival depends on concealment as much as skill. As evening approaches, exhaustion sets in. Feet ache, arms tremble, yet the fire does not rest. Leftovers must be repurposed, stocks reduced, tomorrow's meals prepared. The castle sleeps above, unaware of the labor that keeps it alive. In the kitchen, the cook works on, knowing that dawn will return faster than his strength ever can. Night brings no relief. When the great hall finally empties, the work changes but never ends. Bones are cracked and boiled again. Grease is skimmed from cooled pots and saved. Bread hard as stone is soaked and reborn as tomorrow's meal. Waste is a luxury this kitchen cannot afford. Everything that still holds life is pressed back into service. The cook sleeps nearby, if he sleeps at all. A bench, a sack of straw, the warmth of dying embers. Fire must always be watched. One spark can doom the castle. One unattended flame can erase generations of stone and blood. Even in rest, the cook listens. The hiss of fat, the creak of beams, the cough of another man poisoned slowly by smoke. Illness stalks the kitchen constantly. Rats move freely, bold and numerous. Fleas live in clothing, in hair, in cracks between stones. Cuts become infected, burns scar permanently. There is no healer waiting below. Pain is endured in silence. If a cook becomes too weak to stand, he is replaced. Skill is valued, but endurance matters more. Despite this, knowledge accumulates. The cook understands seasons better than most. He knows when stores will thin, when hunger will sharpen tempers. He learns which foods last, which betray too quickly. He learns how long a body can work before breaking. These lessons are never written. They die with him, unless passed on to someone strong enough to survive long enough to learn them. On rare occasions, a cook rises. Exceptional skill can earn favor, protection, even wealth. Some travel between castles, carrying reputation like armor. But for everyone who escapes the kitchen's grip, dozens disappear into it, nameless, forgotten, consumed by the same fire they fed. The medieval castle cook does not shape history with sword or crown, yet wars march on full stomachs. Power endures because someone below keeps the pots boiling. In the shadow of banners and thrones, the cook stands over his cauldron, anonymous, exhausted, essential. When dawn returns, nothing changes. The fire is lit again, the cycle continues. And the castle, massive and proud, once more feeds on the labor of those it will never remember.